All right. I got a story about beatboxing. Not really about beatboxing, about a beatboxer. So I was a music teacher. Maybe I'll go back to it someday. But as a music teacher in Illinois, every year I would go to the Illinois Music Educators Conference. This big conference in Peoria, all about teaching music, right? And you could go and there would be performances of different groups from Illinois. There would be booths where you could shop and buy all sorts of fun stuff. And there would be workshops that you could go to learn new things. And as teachers, we have to get what's called professional development, or PD. We have to get 120 hours every 5 years. And by going to these workshops, you get that PD. So different people have different ways that they choose which workshops they go to. Some people might go based on who is presenting, right? If they know the person or if they know of the person, they might want to see them present. Some people might just go to what their friends are going to, because I started going to this when I was in college, even before I was a teacher. Some people might go to things that they already know a lot about, and they just want to sit and get an easy sign-off on their hours. What I liked to do was I liked to go to workshops about things that I didn't know, but I thought would be useful, right? So I would go to things like instrument repair, right? Because I don't know a whole lot about instrument repair, but if I wanted to use instruments in my classroom, it would probably be useful to know those things. I went to workshops on recorders, right? And like different companies presenting their own recorders or different techniques that you can use with recorders, because I used recorders in my classrooms. But I was like, that doesn't mean that I know everything, right? So what else can I learn about recorders? And there was one that I went to, and I liked, they demonstrated their recorders to show the durability and the sound quality, and they gave some out. And I actually got one and tested it out myself, and I liked it a lot. And so I bought from that company for my classroom, right? I went to one on ukuleles, right? Because at that point, I had owned a ukulele, and I had a student that was really interested in ukulele, but I didn't really know that much about ukulele in itself or as a classroom tool. And I went to that, and I saw how easy it is just to get started. And that person had recommended a brand new ukulele, and so I bought classroom, right? So, like, that's how I would approach the workshops, is what can I go to that I'm not super familiar with, like that I'm familiar with but not super knowledgeable about, but that I can apply in a meaningful way in my classroom. And so one year I went to a workshop on beatboxing, and I didn't go necessarily to like learn how to beatbox, but I don't remember how long ago this was. So I don't know if it was at my most current school or the school before that. Certainly at the school before that, I had several students that thought they were great beatboxers and that were very interested in beatboxing. So even if I wasn't still at that school, it was something that I had experienced, that I had seen people doing poorly, but like I didn't know much about it, right? And like I don't beatbox, so it's like I should learn more about this so that the next time I see that, I can kind of give some feedback and some helpful criticism, right? So I go to this this workshop on beatboxing, right? And it's presented by these guys that do these beatboxing, and I don't remember a whole lot of the details about it, which I guess isn't great, but they were like talking about why people use different sounds and like what are the best kind of sounds to use for bass and what are the best kind of sounds to use for snare. And like, I don't know. I always feel like just do something that feels natural. I've seen people online like gatekeeping beatboxers for using the wrong word. Because, oh, you're saying, but you should be saying because it's a snare, not a hi-hat. And I'm like, bro, just chill. Neither of those sound like a snare or a hi-hat, right? So just let the person do what they want. But this story is not about what was taught at the workshop. This story is about the audience participation at the end. Because near the end of the hour or so long workshop, the presenters asked if anybody in the audience that was, they were targeting new people that had not beatboxed before. So they asked if anybody in the audience wanted to come up and try beatboxing for the first time in front of an audience, right? Takes a lot of guts. Takes a lot of confidence to go up there and try something you haven't done before. So a couple people go up, and they're doing okay, you know. And then this other person comes up, and she starts going pretty basic, pretty simple, but she's doing pretty well. And they're like, wow, that's really good. And then I can't remember if they like had them do something together or if they like had some music that was playing along with it. But for some reason, this person saw a chance and she took it. And so she started doing these crazy fills and like going off. And everyone was like, oh my gosh. And the presenters are like, oh my gosh, you're doing so well. I can't believe this is your first time. I knew this girl. So I went to college with her. So this would have been certainly after I was out of college, because she was younger than me and she was out of college by this point. And she was the beatboxer for her a cappella group. So she was by no means a beginner, by no means a novice, by no means was scared or nervous about doing this in front of other people. And she went to a clinic, to a workshop for beginners and novices and people that were embarrassed, and decided to use that venue as a way to show off her skills. What a crappy person. I mean, I knew her. I wasn't like friends with her. I couldn't even tell you her name, but I had seen that group perform multiple times, so I recognized her from there. I had seen her around. But what a crap thing to do. Right? And like, people do this online, right? They'll go on Omegle or something and pretend to be bad at guitar, and somebody will say something and then they'll start shredding. And it's like, that's pretty stupid in and of itself, I think. But at least in that situation, it's just you and the one other person. But like, when you go into a workshop aimed at beginners, right? And they are nervous and they're embarrassed, but they're going to go up and they're going to try their best, right? And then you go up, someone that's been doing this for years, if not a decade or more, just to show them up, just so that a room of 20 to 30 people you've never met will clap for you. What a crappy person you are. And so I just turned to the people around me, you know, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I was like, yeah, she's not new. She's a beatboxer in her a cappella group. That's what she does. She must be really desperate for attention to be coming here. And they were kind of like, oh. And it's like, yeah, crappy thing to do. Not cool. And so that's what I'm talking about in my other video, where I'm like, some people, when they do their hand motions and stuff, like, sometimes people just think they're really cool and they just want attention. And those type of people give other types of performers or beatboxers or whatever, they give them such a bad name, because those are the bad things that stick out, right? It's like if you go to a party, right? And there's one drunk jerk who's jumping off of tables and yelling and screaming and shouting. That's the one guy that everyone's going to talk about, right? Even if everyone else was chill and it was fine, right? But people remember the worst example of something. And so people like this girl, that's what people think of when they think of beatboxers, is people that are so full of themselves and so show-offy and not even that good, because they're not focused on the art of it. They're focused on the performance of it. And it gives people bad feelings toward beatboxing. It gives people bad feelings toward a cappella groups. And you're just doing a disservice to everyone who's actually legitimately trying at the art and at the craft. So shame on you, person from Illinois Wesleyan University, who used a beginner workshop to show off your skills to a bunch of people who are embarrassed and trying to do it for the first time for themselves. Screw you!